It is spring 2026. I'm not sure what number we're on. I think it's dementia 20 or 21 in the series that I've done as a personal progression. So, what I'm addressing this time is post review of several assisted living facilities, the experience over the past year has been very interesting, and I'm going to tick off a few things and then just go into a little more detail. Firstly, there's something called a community fee. I did not know or assume that it had to do with the exterior of the building or interior. So it will vary on facilities. It's a one-time non-refundable fee. When you sign your lease, the lease was a month-to-month. The next topic is, and I'll try to go back and explain why I'm addressing these. The next topic is activated medical power of healthcare and how that affects your standing within assisted living. Thirdly is medications and how that affects your standing within a community. And fourthly, how to give intention to vacate. And lastly, facilities that have adjacent senior housing within the facility as an option. Okay, so going back to the beginning. When you sign your lease, at least on the lease, from my experience, all these are from the experience, the shared experience we had with our facility, which will not be named. We were told that community fee addresses budgetary assignments for events, which would be activities. Okay, moving on. In assisted living in this circumstance, no medical needs. Once anything is in a medicine cabinet at home, over the counter, it's not allowed to be within the facility. For something as simple as asking for regular drugstore items, it will immediately go to a physician. It'll be assigned. It can be sent in a blister pack. It can be as needed, but you're going to incur a nursing charge. Now, this is not a prescribed medicine, so be aware that greatly impacts the cost. Thirdly, within the facility, if you are assuming, I believe it's 32 hours of increased care, you could be reassigned to a different part of the facility, which is under a different level of care, and that could impact your costs. And we were told that there is not a waiting list, that it would be addressed, and if they are unable to provide you that level of care, they will ask you to locate to a facility that can. Fourthly, medical power of healthcare. When the person signs their advance directives, there will be indicators on your forms depending on state to state. If you have a DNR, if you care to be in a facility, who would make your emergency decisions? So the emergency decisions usually occur within a hospitalization. So if you're in assisted and it's an activated medical power of healthcare, that can be one of two things. It can be temporarily that you're in a hospitalized position you're unable to make those decisions for whatever reason, and you may or may not be returning to the assisted facility arrangement that you had, or it could change. And that will affect the two prior things I discussed: the medicines, the care, medical level care, the floor that you're on, if they have the availability. The other reason would be two physicians deeming you incompetent to make decisions. And then that may or may not affect your financial power of attorneys in those scenarios. And I'm not going to address those, like it's pretty legalistic. And then lastly, I believe what we were discussing was transitioning over to anything that is more independent, which would be senior housing. So in the event that you partner and assume a lease, if there's a lease available for senior housing, typically there's going to be fair market value price or a level of review of the income of both persons. In our circumstances, again, it's a year lease, cannot be reassigned, cannot be sublet, cannot be a person may pass and be deceased, and I believe you're held liable. You're not able to reassign anybody. At least those circumstances, I've never questioned that. It seems like it may be a personal decision within the corporation, could depend on what's the remaining length of time in the lease, etc. So what I'm saying is I'm addressing assisted living over to independent living, or simply if you're going to move in with family. So typically you give a 30-day notice of intent to vacate. If your lease is a month-to-month at assisted living, then they come in and you would relocate yourself. If you need to, of course, you would indicate it to the utilities company, the date that you're going to either relocate or cease services. You would speak with the medical staff so that they're aware of whom your contacts are. You may need to address what's going to be remaining in the medications that they have stored, and if you're able to remove those medications when you leave along with the rest of your items. And then I did address the community fee. So according to this facility, the one-time non-refundable community fee entitles you to things in their budget. So once you go over into the independent, they have their own self-directed activities, whether it's cards, bingo, etc., whether they're going to do once a month birthdays for everybody in that month, or any other types of events or trips. So we've been told that that's not a transferable fee, even though you're within the same facility. Usually you are using at times the same shared areas. So we were advised that you could attend as a guest. You would have to bring your own beverage and drink if those things are being provided, because it comes out of a different budget, say, than self-directed independent. That can be a little confusing, or you can think of it as doubling your opportunity so that you still retain your friendships. But most importantly, I just wanted to let persons know that there's things that definitely need to be addressed when you're moving out of a facility, and what are the conditions that may have you reassigned within the facility, or that may just address that you tentatively need to be removed from the facility for whatever reason that is. Believe this is standard, that there is not a temporary status or waiting list if you're going from one area to another. I have had relatives that did transition into dementia care, and I'm not sure if that was problematic. I do know that I did have relatives that were in the same facility that did not share an apartment, but they each had their own apartment. When one was deceased and the other one relocated to a different facility, possibly by choice or to be closer to family, something in that regard. So, if there's anything else that I haven't addressed, I will try and post that up maybe in the comments. But these are all things to review if you're getting to feel like there's going to be some rapid transitions. For our instance, we are now very, very late in life with no medical needs, but still what's considered elder fragility. So, since this year has passed, people within the facility on the assisted side, we have seen people passing. I've worked in facilities, this is not uncommon. We've seen people of a certain condition pass. We've seen people that have had falls. And I just need to bring that up. So if your person is in assisted, they don't have any attending person, they give them a monitor to call a nurse if needed, whether they're having medical care or not. Because they are an assistant and they are considered making their own decisions, the protocol is they are not required to notify immediate family or the medical power of healthcare. Is the fall is recorded within the facility, and I believe there's a 72-hour watch or some type of observance. It depends on the condition of the person. So you may want to also be aware of incident reports and have something in your contract that pertains to that if you want to make some exception, or if you feel that your person, even independent, has a preference. I'm not sure if you would have to sign a HIPAA for that. If you're assigned medical power of healthcare, it doesn't address facility issues like that. So you would have to have an understanding of how you're going to address those so that you can prepare for anything transitory at different ages of aging or incident. Thanks. I appreciate that I'm on this journey not alone and able to share this as best as I can. I always keep people in my prayers that are going through these circumstances, and I hope that this helps a little bit. Thank you.